Good morning and welcome to a cute little review of a darling little book, Murder in Time by Elizabeth Ferrars. Now, since watching Jules Burt's amazing channel, I have gotten so much more conscious of the old Penguin books. I always loved them, but now I feel justified in loving them. Thank you, Jules. And this is an old one that I picked up January. It's got this really gorgeous little icon, which my camera doesn't want to focus on. There we go. You can almost see it. Of a guy holding a gun. So that's clearly a thriller type symbol, as well as, of course, the iconic green jacket. Down the bottom, we can not see because it won't focus, but you're just going to have to believe me when I say that there's a little sticker over the where it says complete and unabridged, and it says price in Australia 4 shillings no pence. I just recently found this out from a nice commenter on someone else's thread who confirmed me in the fact that the 2-6 is in fact 2 shilling. I've already forgotten it. 2 shillings and 6 pence. There we go. Lovely. So Elizabeth Ferrars, in case you don't know. Oh, before we go into Elizabeth Ferrars, let's go into my supermodel bird who is getting a wide appreciation group on BookTube. This is Reapy Cheap, small dinosaur, consumer of books and everything else he can get his hand on. And right now he's consuming allowable logs, so I'll let him get on with it. Elizabeth Ferrars, Murder in Time was published in 1950 something or other, I think. 1953. There we go. The internet is helping me. So Elizabeth Ferrars was born as Morna Doris McTaggart, and her first couple of books were published with her under her real name, but she later started publishing as Elizabeth Ferrars. Another interesting thing about the back of this book is that you've got this lovely little portrait, which is, according to internet research, definitely Elizabeth Ferrars, or Morna McTaggart if you will, but it's signed Vivian London. Now, does anyone out there who knows more about these things than me know what the Vivian London is? It's signed right under the photograph there. I feel like it might well be the photographer that took the portrait, but I can't actually find anything in it that indicates what it is. We go straight into chapter 1. Okay, great little book. In Murder in Time, we start with a likable character who is drawn into this criminal, obviously, it's green, affair, but it doesn't start with her right away. So the blurb in the front of the cover, which I'll read out to you more or less, is nothing could sound more innocently gay or fantastically extravagant. I love these old books. I just love the phrasing of them. Then a flight on a specially chartered plane for a weekend in Nice. But most of the 9 people who Mark Orty invited suspected some sinister intention. Why then did they accept? For except they did, coming from such far removed places as a pub on the edge of Dartmoor, a Bloomsbury hotel, do not chew my CDs, Bloomsbury Hotel, sorry, a quiet Oxfordshire village, a Soho nightclub to gather for the journey in Mark's Surrey home. Why Mark really asked them, and why they accepted, are questions that are only answered in full after murder has intervened. Murder in Time has that touch of the bizarre which characterizes all Mrs. Ferrars' work. This is one of her most successful and intriguing stories. The juggling here is real. Yes. So, interestingly enough, Elizabeth Ferrars was writing around about the same time as Agatha Christie. She wrote books for over 50 years, and she wrote over 70 of them. And yet, her name, I don't feel, has been as consciously kept in the social awareness, I guess, as Agatha Christie says. And yet her books are very much contemporary, similar, often better written. I've read quite a few of hers, but like the general social awareness, public acceptance, I don't tend to have kept those books. So while I know I've read quite a few of hers, I don't actually own more. I think I'll keep them from now on because I think it's getting harder to find them. Now, in this particular one, we start with group by group the people who are going to be gathering at this house for this private chartered flight to Nice. There's an old woman and her adopted son who clearly knew him in the past. The adopted son accuses his mother of being fascinated by Mark Orty and accepting on that reason. In a small hotel on the edge of Dartmoor, a very pretty young woman who we gather wasn't quite the thing, socially speaking, compared to the older woman, for example. She and her husband are arguing over it. The young woman wants that free holiday in Nice, which she has never been overseas, and she wants this experience. Her husband doesn't trust Mark Orty. He says he doesn't like him and he doesn't believe that the offer is honest. And we discover that Mark Orty is actually put up the money for them to buy this pub in the first place. So his attitude seems a bit unreasonable, but we're learning that unreasonable is very much what Mark Orty is all about. At the same time, we skip to a Soho club, and that section is very obscure because there's a woman waiting for her date. Not that she calls it a date because 50s. And he isn't appearing on time. When he does appear, he kind of gaslights her into believing that he's been there the whole time. Why is he doing it? Many reasons could be true. There's an old house in an Oxfordshire village. A man and a happily married, mid-range society man and woman are getting ready for bed with a nice cup of tea. And they too have been invited, and they're both obviously quite scared about it. But we don't know why. Eventually, of course, they decide to go. A young man in the hotel bedroom in Bloomsbury is sitting by the open window looking out at a street noisy with traffic, where the heat of the evening had become stale and exhausted. He read and reread a letter that had reached him that morning. He is obviously violently inclined toward Orty. He remembers him poorly. He is angry. And he's definitely going, and we know that he has a weapon on him when he goes. He seems like quite unstable. But why is he unstable? We shall find out later in the book. Now we reach the, I guess, diagnostic part of this book. In chapter 2, we start with the young woman who's walking home from along Regent's Park late at night. Her name is Sarah Wing, and she is in shock when she encounters Major Orty, as she knows him of, because she was a driver for him during the war when he was in the army. She is in shock because she's just witnessed a hit and run, and she is convinced from the look on the driver's face when he passed that it wasn't an accident. And that begins our whole real narrative, bringing all these different people together in Orty's house. Because Sarah Wing is invited by him not because she's a close friend or enemy, as all the others are, we discover, but because he trusts her, or at least he says he trusts her. Do we believe anything that Mark Orty says? Maybe not. But Sarah does. Sarah always found him trustworthy and likable and generous. She knows him as a nice guy. So she comes along to this house where she realized that everyone is weird and strange things are happening, and then there's a death in the library, and I'm not going to tell you anymore because it's a fantastic little murder mystery that you really should read. So this isn't a huge review, but if you like murder mysteries, especially if you like Agatha Christie mysteries, or if you like those old school 50s type ones, I think you will love Murder in Time, and I think you will very much enjoy Elizabeth Ferrars. So, thank you for watching. Read good books.